They were giving $500 vouchers to move in. And then these homeowners, there's not homeowners, but these tenants. And then they were given 3 months free rent. And then now I heard there's a stack of eviction notices on the courthouse desk like this. There's just no reasoning. And I have nothing against anybody that votes blue or anything like that. You know, okay, we have a disagreement on political issues, you know. Big deal. You're still my friend, you know. Want to go have a cup of coffee? You know, you don't have to be like, you know, we're at war. I mean, it's not that big a deal. Our incumbent was talking, and she was all proud of that. She said it was signed by the governor, and I was instrumental in getting this done. And here's the email that says that you didn't want it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mind Your Own Business podcast. I'm Jerry Parisi, and with me today is Mark Turner, who is running for District 1 Board of Commissioners for Hall County.
That's right.
The first district. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good to be here. Good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Mark.
So, of course, my name is Mark Turner. I've been married to my wife, Susan, for 39 years.
Congrats.
And yeah, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people. I was speaking the other day, and they got a standing ovation for that, I guess. But anyway, I've got three.
Well, you don't look like you're old enough to be
I'm 60,
married for 39
I'm 62.
years. Awesome.
So I'm in the gym by every night. So anyway, but I got 3 beautiful daughters and 7 grandkids and 1 on the way.
Awesome.
And I used to manage a national pest control company. And when I took that over, it was the worst branch in the region. And in about 6 months or so, 6 to 9 months, I turned it around to the best branch. So
cool.
I would have stayed there, but some things went on that I really didn't like. And so I founded Select Pest Control in 1993, which is my company. And I've been doing it ever since, never looked back. So, and I know and I take that, I think it's a lot like running the government, because you're dealing with a lot of people. We service over 1,000 people a month. And Miss Jones don't care about Miss Smith, and you got to make everybody happy, and sometimes on the same timeline. So, and I know how to balance budgets. I know how to spend less than you make, and so make payroll. It's just going to be a bigger budget with the county, and I'm good at that. Yeah, and it's good to know the answer to the questions that are posed to you. But the best thing to know is know the question before they even ask it.
Yeah.
So you got to look forward, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm real big in my business, and I think it really needs to be pushed over to the county. Just because something looks good today, that don't mean it's going to look good 15 years down the road.
Right.
Because that's the way I run my business. And probably the biggest thing is I want to bring back Christian core values to Hall County government. That's very important to me. I'm a Christian, and I think we need that, because if you put Christ first, everything else kind of falls into place.
Do you think that's lacking now on the Board of Commissioners?
I do. Yeah, I do. You know, I think it's lacking everywhere. Honestly, lacking everywhere. So, but unfortunately, that's the foundation of my. Well, it's not unfortunately. It's the foundation of my home. It's the foundation of my business, and I think would be very instrumental to put it back into the county government, because you do that and everything else, like I said, falls right into place.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to run a government like a private business?
Absolutely. I think we need more of that. I mean, look at the White House. I mean, you need business people in there. Not knocking anybody. Our current incumbent is a farmer. There's a lot of farmers. You know, Drew Eccles, which I think highly of. He's a farmer. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not saying anything about that, but I think you need business people that know how to budget stuff and not spend more than coming in, and have that, you know, the forecast, looking out, see what's going on, what's going to happen. I think that's, I think you definitely have to be a business mindset.
So you mentioned a couple times forecasting and looking out, you know, the decisions that you make today, how they will be, you know, affecting things 15 years down the road. But a lot of politicians are looking at the next election, right? So what they're voting for now is with an eye on who's going to vote for me in the next election, right, and how is what I do here today going to, you know, impact what people think about me when they vote. Not necessarily 15 years from now, right, but, you know, 18 months from now.
Well, you know, I was on the radio show up in Gainesville, and they asked me about would I run for a second term. And I said, well, I'm 62 now. I would take office in January if I were to win. And I said, by the time my term's up, I said I would be 67. And I'm a firm believer in term limits on everything, from the White House to the Senate, everything. So, if I did a second term, it'd only be 2 terms, but yeah, you can't just look at getting reelected. You got to look at the people's the one that puts you in office. You got to look out for them. You got to listen to them. And that's what's making me run. I had a situation happen next door to our office. Something was trying to move in next door to me that really didn't fit the gateway corridor, as they call it. And this particular business was deficient on 6 out of 7 criteria. So to me, it's like, that's a no. Well, it got approved through the planning board, through amendments and conditions and all this stuff. So anyway, so I took it to the commission board. We won, but I called every single commissioner on that board. There's 5 of them before the hearing or the meeting, and told them, stated my case. When I called the seat that I'm running for, that particular commissioner said, well, that's not my district. That's so-and-so's district. I'm going to get with him and I'm going to vote however he wants me to vote. Right then, I was respectful and kind because I feel like that's very important. You should do that. But right then I realized I ain't got a voice. I don't have a voice. And I also realized that the other people don't have a voice. And so I thought that's what put me in this chair here today, is to give the people their voice back. Because
that commissioner said she was basically going to rubber stamp whatever the commissioner in that district wanted to do.
Yeah. And she called me, and I will say this, she did call me out at a debate that we had together. She said, well, I voted for you. And I said, yes, you did. And I thank you for that. But honestly, do I thank her or do I thank the commissioner that she got with? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah. So, but I do appreciate, I did win, and I do appreciate that. I mean, she's a sweet lady. Don't get me wrong. We just see things differently, and I think the winds of change are blowing, and times are changing, and a lot of people are upset, and I think it's time to make a change.
What change do you want to see on the Board of Commissioners or in Hall County in general?
Good question. There's a lot of things I'd like to see changed. The growth right now, the growth is just insane. We're going to grow. Growth is inevitable. If you totally stop growth, it's going to be like 2007, 2008. Growth fuels a lot of different other industries. So you can't stop it. And that'd be bad if you did. But you need to manage it, and you need to control it. And, like commercial growth, that's where the county actually makes money on commercial tax revenue. It actually costs them about 15 to 20% per rooftop on residential because of all the services they have to do and the infrastructure and the sewage and all that kind of stuff. They actually make money on commercial. So, like getting back to talking about the courthouse, they're wanting to put the courthouse and disrupt 18 businesses in Gainesville. They're going to have to buy the businesses. They're going to have to buy the land. There's no telling how many lawsuits are going to come from that because I've done met with most of these people. They do not want to move, and and the county has 35 acres right next door to the government building, which is next to the sheriff's department, like 2 miles down the road.
Well, what you're talking about is there's a plan to, I guess, use eminent domain to take some property and move the courthouse. Where there's currently private businesses that own that property.
Right. And buildings that have been there 50, 75 years. I mean, who knows what's under the ground? Gas lines, electrical lines. I mean,
skeletons.
Yeah. I mean, you just do not know. And you got 35 acres over there of raw virgin land. There's nothing there, And I think it would cost the taxpayers in excess of $30 million if they try to do that. I actually seen and I don't have it with me, but I have seen the letter where they've actually told the people they had to be out by December 31st, 2026, and they have not even made them an offer on their business yet or their land. So they're upset.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. Eminent domain is one of the things I can't get behind.
Yeah.
Taking somebody's property, for the government.
Well, I understand it if there's no other option, but here they have options. So, we'll see where this plays out. I don't know. It may get ugly and legal. I don't know.
You mentioned your faith as being a big driver as far as why you want to do this. How does your faith inform what decisions you would make while you're on the board of commissioners?
I got a story. I want to tell you a story. Please. So since I started running, and then hopefully this answers your question. Since I started running, I have been praying, because I do that all the time, but I've been praying that God would give me the wisdom of Solomon to make these tough decisions that I need to make, because he was the wisest man that ever lived. Of course, second to Jesus, of course. But better than yet, I want the mind of Christ, which I already have that. But I just want to put Christ in the front, because if you have, like I said, it's easy if you do that. And so, and at the gym where I go, I got a friend of mine that's a Messianic Jew, and this is how I operate. So I asked him, and his mom and dad have an online ministry, and I said, "Do you think your mom and dad would anoint my head with oil if I win?" He said, "Absolutely." So to me, it's very important, and I think you'd need that anointing. A lot of people might not understand that, but just look it up. You'll need it. You'll need it for sure. So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
One of the hot button issues around the country is immigration. Now, Hall County has a large Hispanic population. Okay. There's a lot of poultry farming. I don't know if it's still as big as it used to be. Construction going all around the region. As a commissioner, what are your thoughts on these tensions with immigration, ICE, things like that, and how would you represent your district?
I support ICE. I think we're a country of rules and laws, and I think they need to be obeyed. If you're here illegally, you need to get in here legally. And especially if you're a criminal, you need to go. So I'm all for ICE. Now, about 2 miles the way a crow flies, the feds have come in and dictated a warehouse to be a ICE detention center.
I was going to say, is that in the district that you're running for?
Yes, it is. I'm not for that, and I was at a GOP meeting speaking. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't speaking, but I was there, and Andrew Clyde was there, super nice guy. And I heard him say, with my own 2 ears, he said, they don't quote me on this exactly, but it was like, we're not going to have, I support Trump all the way. These ICE detention centers going here, and we better not have any of the Oakwood good old boys come out and start protesting. And I'm like, it just didn't sit right with me because, right. Now technically I live in Flowery Branch, but Oakwood's like a mile up the road. So I'm like, well, I'm an Oakwood guy. I'm not a good old boy rebel toting guy, And it's like, that just didn't sit right with me. I understand what he was trying to say. We don't want protesting and all that stuff, which I agree with. But, calling somebody a good old boy, like we're,
That's a derogatory term.
Yeah, you're eating fried chicken and watermelon and, and got a rebel flag and their guns. No, that's not what South Hall is. Mm-hmm. It's, there's a lot of good people in South Hall.
Right.
A lot of good people. A lot of good, the whole county is good. There's just a few things that need tweaking. And I think I'm the man for the job.
What are some other issues that you think do need tweaking there in the Hall County?
Transparency. As maybe a lot of people know, or you might know, they fired the planning board because of they violated the Open Meetings Act. So because 3 commissioners cannot meet together, because that's considered a quorum, and they were actually meeting before the meetings, the public meetings, in a separate room, shuffling papers, and actually deciding votes on some things. So they finally got rid of them, but there was there's 3 commissioners that really were kind of staying quiet about it. And I don't understand why they just didn't say, okay, look, we're just going to let you go. You did this, blah, 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 blah. You need to go. But they didn't. So they had all this big hearing and everything, probably cost the county probably $80,000, I think, in legal fees, because the people were trying to keep their job, and, I don't know why they just didn't resign. But so I was going to the hearing that day. And so when I walked up to the county building, Commissioner Poole was standing at the front door, and he walked up to me and said, "Hey, Mark, can you record this meeting for me?" I'm like, sure. I said, they're supposed to live stream it, and he said, well, they're not going to live stream it. They're not going to record it. And he said, I'd like to see what's going on. And they won't let the commissioners in the building. They're afraid that we're going to mess up the case.
It wouldn't let the commissioners in?
No. And that was some of the unelected bureaucrats in the government center. That's another issue. But anyway, they told them not to come. I went in and probably stayed 4 or 5 hours and watched it. And where I was sitting, I really didn't have a good angle, so I couldn't record it. So, but yeah, they didn't live stream it or anything. That is total lack of transparency. That should have been, televised. This is big news, and so just things like that, it's just, and a lot of that comes down to like I said, the unelected bureaucrats that are in positions there that, I know when I used to go into the government center, now it doesn't, everybody kind of knows who I am, but you'd feel like you'd done just the attitude of a lot of the people. You feel like you've done something wrong. You just, I'll get arrested here, just to get your tag or something, So I think a lot of things need building permits. 4 or 5 years ago, you could get all your building permits in like an hour. So they had this lady up there that was really good. Then it got to where it's taking like 3 to 6 months. And these are just talking to builders that I know. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten better, but it hadn't got to where it needs to be yet. And so, I just think it needs a good cleansing up there as well.
I think that goes back to our conversation about running government like a business, don't you?
Absolutely.
And, a lot of these government buildings you go into, there's no rush to
exactly
approve your paperwork to get your building permit.
Right.
You and I are trying to run businesses.
Sure.
How are we going to do that if the government is dragging their feet at every turn? As a commissioner, how do you think you can affect change as far as that stuff goes?
Well, I run my business real lean. I don't have a lot of fat, laying around, I really don't. And I just feel like, if we're going to hire you to do a job, you need to do the job. But here's the thing that the way we run our office, people don't do what you expect. They do what you inspect. So, and I think if any business people out there listening to that, take that philosophy. You can expect somebody to do something and they still might not do it. But if you keep inspecting it, they're going to know that you're going to come back behind you and inspect their work.
Yeah.
And it'll get done. So you'll only have to do it for a short period of time, and then they'll get the picture.
Start doing their job.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Housing affordability has been a big hot button issue throughout the country.
Yeah.
And Hall County is growing, just like Jackson County here is growing, quickly. How do you balance, the need for affordable housing with some people criticize, townhomes, apartment buildings, low income housing. How do you balance those two demands?
As far as housing affordability and things like that, I think I feel like you need to, because you can't dictate somebody's prices. You can't do that. Then you're talking about socialism and stuff like that. But, and they talk about good paying jobs. Well, what is a good paying job? A lot of times, somebody's making $20, $30 an hour. Because the cost of the housing is so high, they go into the bank for a loan. They still don't qualify.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started to work, I made $2.45 an hour. My first home cost me $47,000, I think.
Wow.
So it's a big difference.
Different times.
Now it's the first time home buyer now is 47, and it's $500,000, $475 starter home. So
golly,
I can't fathom that. So I don't know really. I know I've talked to a lot of people, and they're talking about if you take out a lot of the governmental red tape, that it'll reduce it. I've heard 30%. I've heard 60%. I don't think it was 60%, but I think that's on a higher level than what a commissioner can really deal with. And as far as good paying jobs, there again, if you can't get the cost of materials, I don't know who dictates that, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
I used to build houses back a long time ago, not a developer, just build houses. And so I know, the cost of lumber and things like that are what it used to be and then what it is today. But, It's crazy. Well, everything's so expensive. I mean, you call a plumber out of your house, it's $500.
Yeah.
You know, I should have been a plumber. So it's like, wow, you know. So it's everything's gotten high, you know.
Yeah. As a county commissioner, do you think there's a possibility to create a better business environment in Hall County to increase those wages?
I think so. If you get the right, you know. Now, I'm not big on. I don't know a lot about what I'm about to say, but from what I've seen, I'm not a big fan of data centers. And I know, you know, a lot, they're trying to come in. They're trying to come into Habersham and Hall County, maybe down here. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them. And a lot of that is just ignorance, I guess you could say. You know, I don't know a lot about, you know, because I was talking to a guy from Kansas, believe it or not, the other day, about 2 weeks ago, and they had a day. He loved them. And he was on the planning board in Kansas. And he said they have a closed loop system where they reuse the water. I think if on the data centers, people are so afraid of them right now, but we just got to understand them. Not from the person that's trying to build them. We got to understand them as a whole, you know, because people are going to blow smoke up. You know, they're going to blow you smoke to get what they want.
Right.
But I will tell you this. I think if you're going to come to Hall County and you want to develop in our county, all right, we own the field, so you're going to play by our rules. You're going to use our bat, our ball, and I really feel like that. And I feel like the codes are written in such a way right now that I think we're getting taken advantage of, and we need to rewrite the UDC codes and things like that to where it's not so advantageous to the developers to come in and just say, oh, we can do this, we can do that, you know, because then they hit you with, well, it's in your code. Well, you know, we need to rewrite the code so it's going to, you know, make it beneficial to us, you know.
So you mentioned if people want to come in and do business in Hall County, they should play by Hall County's rules, and that you guys should set the tone.
Right.
How do you balance that position of strength with, well, a lot of different counties may be competing to bring in certain businesses, and some are offering different tax advantages. What are your thoughts around doing stuff like that?
Well, you know, as a business owner, I never got a tax advantage. You know, I know a lot of apartments in Gainesville are 15 years tax abated. 15 years is a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time. I don't understand that. I understand the theory, but from what I understand, on that particular project right there, that those apartments are 15 years tax abated, they were given $500. This may not be true. This is just what I've been told from a very reliable source. They were given $500 vouchers to move in, and then these homeowners, there's not homeowners, but these tenants, and then they were given 3 months free rent. And then now I heard there's a stack of eviction notices on the courthouse desk like this. So, I mean, you know, some people are just going to be the way they are, you know, and you can't change them. I never got any tax breaks. I just don't. Now, I understand if it's like something huge. I mean, you know, but for 15 years, maybe reduce the tax. But, and another problem we have, so on the data center, that's trying to put a data center down off of Candler Highway, which is Highway 60. There was talk that if the county didn't approve it, the city was going to annex that into the city, and the city was going to get it, and then we'd lose all the tax revenue.
Oh, geez.
That's not right.
Yeah.
We should work together. I mean, and, you know, I know this is the way of the land, but to me, the city's inside the county, so we should have precedence. I mean, you know, but we don't. But we can't annex anything out of the city and put it back in the county, but the city can take stuff out of the county and put it in the city. I don't know who thought that up. That was a long time ago, I guess, but that's just
some lawyer, I'm sure.
It just don't make sense, you know. So, and we can't get it back.
Yeah,
you know. So, but I think they really need to work together, you know, because that's definitely not working together, the city and the county. You know, if you don't do it, we're going to do it and take the money. You know, really. So your hands are tied.
Similarly, there's, you know, with all the growth comes other issues, traffic, crime, other services that need to be put in place that the county's responsible for. How do you balance that sort of growth with the demands that are then put on the county? And what are your thoughts around those sort of issues?
Well, right now, we got the traffic issue is horrendous in South Hall. South Hall is probably the fastest growth because Gwinnett's just kind of moving up, Yeah. And I've talked to a lot of citizens that have lived in Gwinnett or Lawrenceville or whatever, Duluth, and they come up to Gainesville and they just kind of followed them up. But I think it's kind of like letting toothpaste out of the tube. You can't put it back in,
right?
But you can certainly quit squeezing the tube. So I think that's what needs to be done. Is like I said, growth is going to happen, but apartments. But we got a 6-month moratorium now. They did extend it. We're no more high density apartments, no more townhomes and things like that, high density things. Because I really feel like the American dream they're trying to take, and I say they, I guess the government is trying to take it away from you. Because used to, you get a good job, you have your own home, you raise a family, have the white picket fence, you retire. Now you can't even get Quicken. You have to subscribe to Quicken, and they charge you monthly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants you to be on that revolving pay scale. So
they want you to own nothing and like it.
Yeah, and if you look in the Bible, that happened with the Israelites in Egypt, and Joseph took over, and he was second to the Potiphar, and so. A famine came, and so they said, "Well, just take our livestock, take our land, just keep us fed." Well, when that went through, then they said, "Well, just we'll be your slaves. Just own us." It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big a proponent of owning things. And. Nothing against apartments. I mean, you got to start somewhere. I get that, but you shouldn't stay there. And if we're not careful, we're going to turn this county blue. Yeah. Matter of fact, I met Rick Jackson a couple of nights ago, and we probably spent 5 minutes together, actually talking. And super nice guy. So my wife showed me, and I put it on my Facebook page, and so I had one of my customers. Write a comment that says, "Oh, I guess I got to get a new pest control company." It's like we can't disagree.
Yeah,
so the left is it's my way or the highway, or the right. We're kind of like, well, I'll listen to you. We can disagree. We can still be friends.
It's a little more pragmatic. I think.
Yeah. It's just I just whatever. It is what it is. What do you do?
Do you think there's any coming back from that divide to more of a collaborative environment, or do you think we're too far gone?
I don't know. It's pretty bad. It's I would hope, anything's possible. There's just no reasoning, and I have nothing against anybody that votes blue or anything like that. Okay, we have a disagreement on political issues. Big deal. You're still my friend. You want to go have a cup of coffee. It don't have to be like, we're at war. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things, some of the terms are only 2 years, some of them are 4 years. Things will change, But I've seen it time and time again. Relationships severed.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is.
Oh, yeah. I think we could disagree politically and be civil and still be friends.
You should be that way. It should be that way. So, yeah. It's been interesting. I'll tell you this. I'm not a politician. I mean, I own an exterminating company, and the reason why I decided to run, like I said, is just because I didn't have a voice, and what happened to me, I don't want to happen to anybody else. And that's basically my platform.
Is there anything else you think the voters in Hall County District 1 need to know about this race, about you, about any of the issues?
Well, I think they pretty much know what's going on in Hall County as far as, especially in District 1, South Hall, because of all the growth and the traffic and things like that. I would just want to say, don't believe everything you hear from your current incumbent. Just to show you, so right here is an email. Derek McCullum co-sponsored a House Bill 1341 that's going to take your homestead exemption from $2,000 to $10,000. And it passed through the House, and it's on the governor's desk right now. So if he signs it, it'll go on the ballot for November, and we get to vote on it. Well, here's an email from the county that says that 3 of our commissioners, one of them being District 1, did not approve of that. Said the board was split, and then we're not approved of it because it's going to take too much funds from some of our services that the county provide. To me, these are kitchen table issues that affect me and affect the citizens of South Hall and all of Hall County, really. And it's going to raise your homestead exemption from about $8,000. Those are kitchen table issues. It saves you some money. Mm-hmm. And look at the gas. I mean, thank God we got the gas tax suspended right now.
Right.
And so I was at a meeting Saturday night, and our incumbent was talking, and she was all proud of that. She said it was signed by the governor, and I was instrumental in getting this done. And here's the email that says that you didn't want it. Mm-hmm. So don't believe everything you hear. I'm just an outsider. I mean, I think the winds of change are blowing.
Yeah. Well, I think we need more outsiders.
I do too.
And less insiders.
Yeah, exactly.
In every level of government.
Well, when you've been on the commission board 24 years, the incumbent that I'm running for her seat, 12 years, and I forgot what the other one is, 10 years, something like that. It's just, y'all are the best people to run the government. Really. I mean, there's other people, if they would step up. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are good, but they don't want to deal with a headache, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's my opinion that we need a lot more blue-collar people, a lot more regular working people to not necessarily run, but be more involved, come to the meetings.
Yeah, that's very important.
Debates, know what the issues are, and try to make your voice heard. And hopefully your commissioner or whoever you're talking to will listen.
But I will tell you this. If you have an issue with zoning, whatever, and you're wanting something done, I encourage everybody, don't go just to the public hearing, because chances are their mind's already made up by the time you get there.
Yeah.
Call each one of the commissioners, because even though would only be representing South Hall, I vote over all of Hall County. So call them, get them to come out, look at your situation, and plead your case to them. Then go to the meeting. And, because you're one-on-one with them, and because if you wait, one of my opponents talks about how he's been fighting for the county for all these months now, and he goes to every commission meeting. And I'm sitting there thinking and trying to count on my hands how many times he's won a case, the zoning or issue for the people. Now, I may be wrong, but I can't think of a one. I mean, he gets up there, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
But if you get with the commissioner beforehand, and you can spend some time with them, I think that's the key.
There was a hot button issue in my industry last year. It's called tort reform. And so I went down to the Capitol, met with both of our state reps, state senator, state representative, and discussed with them, my concerns with the tort reform bill that was on the table. Mm-hmm. They both told me, go ahead and shoot me an email with your bullet point, arguments, what your issues are, how we could make the bill better.
Right.
So I emailed both of them several times, not a single response.
Yeah. Probably.
So they give you lip service, say, we'll listen to you. But then at the end of the day, do they actually, hopefully we get some good people in those seats that will listen, that will return phone calls, return emails, and actually, give a crap about what their constituents want.
That's one thing. I was speaking at Deaton Creek one night, and my wife was there, and she said, I wish you hadn't said that. And I what? So I told him, I said,
what'd you say that?
Yeah, it wasn't nothing bad. It was like, I said, well, I own a pest control company. And I said, when somebody calls us, I said, our guys have 10 minutes to call you back because you got a problem. We want to solve it. So they have 10 minutes. Yeah. And I'm learning, like you, the government is slow. And she said, you shouldn't have said that. But it is slow. I mean, if you run it like a business, call your people back. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that put you in office. Yeah. And my gosh.
Even if the answer is, sorry, I can't help you.
Right.
Sorry, we can't do that. Here's why.
Yeah. Everybody deserves a phone call.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Hall County, South Hall, as a matter of fact. And I just that's the way I run my business. You deserve a phone call back. If I don't call you back, I I either forgot or I didn't get the message or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just common courtesy, But yeah, a lot of these politicians are just like, I'm here now. That is not me.
Yeah.
That is not me.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
How can people find out more about you, your campaign, or what you stand
Good
for?
question. So you can go to turnerforhall.com.
Turner for Hall.
Uh-huh. And of course, we got a Facebook and an Instagram, and that's just Turner for Hall. And would love to have your support, your vote. We ain't got but a couple of more weeks here.
Election day is
May 19th.
May 19th.
So hopefully, there's 2 Marks running in my race. So you have Kathy Cooper, and then you have Corey Anderson, you have Mark Fall, and you have me, Mark Turner. So I'm the last one because it's going in alphabetical order.
Okay.
And so an incumbent's hard to beat,
Sure.
So, but I think we're doing pretty good. But if it goes to runoff, it is. I hope it don't, because I'm really just kind of tired. I want to get this over. So, So, but yeah, that's. I'm just a regular guy. That's me.
Well, I think we need more regular guys around.
Yeah.
And gals.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, don't believe everything you hear. Check them out. Ask people. Ask about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we service a lot of people in Hall County, and down here as well, all over the place. Just find out about them. I think that's the best thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell the voters?
I guess just vote for me. We need you.
Mark Turner.
The one thing last thing, and this is one other way I run my business. There's no I in the word team. I can't get elected without them, and I promise everybody I will listen to them, and I will do what's best for them and the county, because I can't do it on my own. Because there's 5 people on the board. Even if I can't do it nothing by myself, I got to have 3 other votes.
Yeah.
But I think I can help the county out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you for being a part of this.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for coming to talk to me.
Awesome.
Mark Turner, running for District 1 County Commissioner, Hall County Board of Commissioners. Thank you. Very enlightening podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.